John, you've been talking about uncertainty. Where does that lead to?
Well, Rob, when we see with uncertainty, it sets up a certain emotional state, which is very, very resource expensive on the brain. And it also sets up certain standard responses, one of which, for instance, is a drop in your sleep habits. And also, you go into a higher state of alert, so therefore you're less tolerant of people, you're less tolerant of the kids, you're less tolerant of your dogs.
Dogs hate that.
Dogs hate that. They go, oh my God, the milk price has dropped, we're in trouble now. Yeah. So it leads to, well, in a nutshell, it leads to depression and it leads to high anxiety. And that's the main problem with it. And then these things show up as a natural consequence of chronic stress. So you've always got to be aware of those things because farming's just one of those businesses. It's sort of like everybody who does it loves it and hates it. They'd love it if it was good all the time, and when you go through those troughs, you have to have the right mentality, I guess, at one level if you're going to be in farming to ride them through, because they always come out the other side.
Biggest problem that I would see is that there is no light at the end of the tunnel that can be seen.
No. So I guess faith comes into this a wee bit. Not even faith, just a good understanding of history. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. They're not making more land, and they are making more people, and they're making more of a middle class, people that like to buy the food that we make. So there will always be an overall expanding market. It just does this, and if you're at this right now and you happen to have purchased thinking you were at that, right, there's going to be a time period there where it's going to be rough for you. And part of that is, to cope with that, is discussing it, firstly, I think, with your life partner. That could be. I think that's really important. Because you see, remember uncertainty?
Yeah.
If you don't tell them what you're thinking, they catastrophise. They've got their uncertainty.
Yeah, okay, because a lot of them would say, look, I'm not going to bother her or him.
Yeah. Hey,
he's got enough on his plate without me unloading to him.
Yep. Look, a friend of mine a few years back when the HIV scare was at its peak, he said, I haven't had the sort of most salubrious of life, I better go and get a check. Right? And for 2 weeks there, he was completely on edge because that's how long the test took then.
He thought he had it by the time
he
ended the fortnight, he had 3 weeks to live.
Yeah. Look, there's a patch on my skin. Yeah. What's that? You go, it's a bruise. Well, you hit yourself yesterday, you idiot. But the point of it was, once he got the news, right, he actually said to me afterwards, I wouldn't have cared if it was positive or negative. I would have felt better. He said the worst part by far was the weight. And I think because that's that uncertainty thing again. So communication, critical to maintaining good relationships.
Yep.
And so if the one thing people can take out of the show today about how do I cope with the stress that this current situation's generating, is at least talk to your husband or wife about it. That's the minimum, right? And if you've got business partners, share milkers, whatever, talk to them about it. Sit down and spreadsheet it. Look at it all, and talk to your bank manager about it. Your bank manager is another person who's working on uncertainty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if he sits there and goes, okay, the guy's got a pretty good handle on what a crap situation we're in right now, but he's no worse than any other farmer. He and I both know what debt he's got. We both know what his obligations are. What I want to know as the bank manager is he going to ride through this storm? And if he is, well, we back him. There's no point. There's no mileage in selling farms on a desperate market.
On a really low market.
Yeah.
Mortgagee sale just says, get what you can. Just pay me as little as you need to.
Well, and it's not just that too. The farmer down the bloke goes, well, who was the bank who sold them up? Banks, they have to survive into the future too. And wise bank managers, the ones that have been around a while, realise that reputation in the marketplace. You can put all the fancy ads on your TV you like, but you flog some farmer's land, that'll get remembered for several generations. Exactly. And they'll go, and that was the bank that did it. So that's actually costing them a lot of money. So they're not interested in getting rid of you if they can possibly keep you alive and going and safe and through.
Yeah. John, is there a take-home message, for the want of a better term, for a guy who's got 1,000 pregnant ewes that he can't feed, but they're off another farm, and the farmer who's looking after them and says, look, I'm sorry, buddy, I need to feed. I mean, what do you do?
Well, I guess at one level you can reduce your risk. So you go, well, this is my loss, and you take a bit of it. I don't know. I'm not the farmer.
No, that's, you talk to somebody probably is the
I
answer
think
to that.
that's the first thing. Look around and get all the advice you can get, because you know you don't have to take any of it. But the more information you've got, as my father used to say, information's not heavy stuff to carry around.
That's a good line.
Yeah, yeah.
So once again, though, I mean, I think the medical profession, as you are one of, has a big important role as well.
Well, and look, if you're suffering the classic indications of anxiety or depression, which are poor sleep, you know, you become grumpy, low libido, poor appetite, disinterested, overall feeling flat, possibly even in a quiet moment when there's no one else around, a tendency to almost get to tears, right?
Yep.
You are heading into depression. Short-term fixes with drugs can be useful. You know, there are good drugs out there that can help people. The long-term fixes involve things like addressing your issues, addressing your problems, maintaining your relationships, developing stability. Those are the key things. If you don't want to go the drug line, you can come and see someone like myself. I'm a chiropractor. You can come and see me. I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox too. Particularly, of course, out of this stuff, you get a lot of aches and pains. Upper shoulder, low back.
Yeah.
Classic.
Go and see your witch doctor.
Absolutely.
John, thank you very much indeed.
By working out the worst scenario, you don't get surprised, and in nature, surprises are usually unpleasant.